Hello everybody, my name is Devin Atwell and we're going to be reacting to a video called Why is everybody leaving Colorado? The alarming reasons. I don't know. I don't think everyone's leaving Colorado from what I've seen from the market, but we will see their points and talk about it. Let's get right into the action.
Has always grown in population. Since the 1870s, when it was first included in the census, they have never lost population. All that may be about to change. While data points to population growth slowing a bit in Colorado, the state's population is still expected to keep increasing because of a higher birth rate and a lower death rate. So
Higher birth rate, lower death rate, that's why we're increasing population, but also, not just with the birth rate and all of that, Colorado's so big, mostly because, well, we're the center of the United States. So if you have a company and you need to get around a lot of places, Colorado's the place to be because you can fly just about anywhere in America straight out of DIA. So that's another big reason why we're going to keep increasing our population. I mean, how else would you do it besides the birth rate, which isn't the best right now because of reasons we'll get into later, mostly higher costs.
why is the population growth slowing? Well, some research shows that more people are leaving than coming in, and that's the whole gist of it. Today we're looking at the reasons why people say they're leaving according to a few surveys, including one I did. These are just the most common reasons people gave when asked why they were leaving Colorado or why they wouldn't move to Colorado. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 10, the weather. Colorado's a combination of high elevation, middle latitude, and continental interior. This results as a cool, dry climate in most of the state. Sure, you get up into the Rockies, you're going to have a whole bunch of snow, but most of the state is kind of dry. The entire state is not the Rocky Mountains. I know if you've never been there and you really don't study geography or anything like that, you might just assume that all of Colorado is mountains with trees and snow and everyone skis and sits in their cabin as a prepper. No, that's not the case. The eastern side of the state, like east of Denver, is pretty much flat and in my opinion, kind of desertish. They do have a lot of farmland out there though, but the weather does get kind of cold.
Very deserty on the eastern side of Colorado. He is right. We only have the Rocky Mountains on one side, and the rest of the state is flat. You feel like you're not even in Colorado at some point because you don't see the mountains anymore. It's kind of crazy, but it is really good for farmland, and that also helps keep our population fed, right?
This, of course, leads to a lot of retirees leaving because retirees don't like the cold too much. Even though I just did research for another video and I found out retirees these days are choosing colder places just to save a buck in retirement, more than ever before. But if you're a retiree and you got the option, you usually leave the cold climates. Colorado's one of those places that can get pretty cold. Even all the way out in Kit Carson, Colorado. I went through there one time and the streets are exceptionally large. I don't know why. There's like no traffic whatsoever. But yeah, quite a few people say the weather is why they're leaving Colorado, or they're not moving to Colorado.
This is very true. The amount of surprise on people's faces when they realize how cold it gets in the winter, even though our snow doesn't last long unless you live in the mountains, people just can't deal with the snow at all, especially when they come from California and Texas. The snow is just way too much for them, and they'll come here for a year or two and realize it's too much and leave. That is 100% true. It is kind of sad, though, that retirees are so broke that they can't even move to a nicer, warmer area like they would normally want to be at because the economy's shit right now. That's just how it is.
Number 9, the politics. Colorado's politics are complicated to say the least. It was once considered a swing state, and Colorado's politics have shifted towards the left in recent years. Conservatives are leaving for states like Texas and Arizona. Now, I've said before, it's just me. I'm sure most people, considering I just read a survey that said 65% of the US population doesn't pay attention to politics unless it's an election year. But they used to be kind of purple, and now they're definitely leaning into the blue area. And some people don't dig this, and they're picking up and moving to places like Texas and Arizona. Now, it is obviously a small fraction of people leaving because of politics, but it did show up quite often. This is another state. A lot of states are like this. It's kind of strange. You got Colorado, you got Washington, you got Oregon, you got California. One side of the state is red and the other side is blue. But more and more, Colorado is kind of blurring those lines. Some people don't dig it. They're moving out. You know, in a way, I understand it a little bit. You kind of want to be around people that share the same views as you do. And if if you start seeing the people around you not sharing those views, you might leave. Myself, I'd kind of stay around and hope it changes. But other people just pack it in and leave.
I'm trying to stay here and hope that it changes. But honestly, I lean to the yellow side, libertarian. Let's go freedom, okay? But a lot of people are leaning more blue, and this is causing problems. I mean, if you go back to my last video, we actually talk about how some immigrants are coming here to Colorado, getting free housing, getting free education. But if you're born and raised here, you don't get any of that. Why would you get free education or free living? No. If you want to live close to free, you live with your parents. That's all you can do, which makes people want to leave. Crazy enough. And then also, Democrats are highly against guns. So you are not really allowed to defend yourself, while also the police aren't allowed to defend you either. And they'll be super late if you call them, not helping anything. You're not, if you are a law-abiding citizen, you're not allowed to bring a gun into Denver parks, which is pretty ridiculous. Why are you not allowed to bring a gun to a park? Guess what? The criminals are still going to bring the guns because they don't obey the laws. So why would you live here when you're not even legally allowed to defend yourself? And all of your tax money is going to fund immigrants' education instead of your own children's education. Disgusting.
Number 8, high cost of living. Now, this is one of the first ones we got where it showed up quite often. The cost of living in Colorado is raising at a pretty good clip. All states
Skyrocketing.
are. Since the pandemic and the recovery from the pandemic, we've seen the cost of living go up in every single state. Maybe not Mississippi. So 49 of the states. Well, Colorado's cost of living has been going up faster than everyone else for about 6 years. There's argument that it could have been longer than that, but it was definitely about 6 years ago they started outpacing all the other western states consistently. This is wearing on a lot of people, and they're packing up and moving out again with the retirees. Especially, they don't want to live in a state where the cost of living is going up. They want to find a low cost of living to live out the golden years, and not in golden Colorado.
Yeah, cost of living has a huge effect on it. I mean, if you can't afford to go to the grocery store and take care of your kids, why would you stay in this state? It's getting ridiculous. It's getting disgusting. The average housing price is $500,000 now, or at least near $500,000. So starter homes are $500,000. Yeah, you heard that right. A starter home here in Colorado is about $500,000, unless you want to live in BFE. Okay? So yeah, cost of living is insane. And it doesn't help that a lot of rich people just own most of the houses and will rent them out. Does not help at all. So I could only imagine you come here and you not only have to deal with the snow, but you also have to pay a ridiculous price to live here. Ooh. The beauty only takes you so far. The beauty only takes you so far. It's a very beautiful place to live. I love living here, but I totally get it if you're priced out of the market because it's stupid expensive to live here. Stupid expensive.
Number 7, wildfires and air quality. Colorado gets some pretty serious wildfires. Besides the fact wildfires are horrible, they destroy the air quality of the state. Not just while the wildfire is going on. Sometimes it takes months for the air quality to get better after a wildfire. Now, on top of that, there's other issues with their air quality, not just the wildfires. Your typical industrial things, automobiles, all that stuff. But then you have to figure out their climate and a bunch of other things make the air quality in Colorado very unappealing. If you have any kind of breathing issues, this can take a toll on your health. Colorado is actually ranked the 7th worst state for air quality, which is strange because it's known for its outdoors. Outdoors usually means clean, pure, and all that good stuff. No, they got bad air there. People with serious asthma should not be living in Colorado, at least most of Colorado. When you look at 2021's wildfire season and how many acres were burned, Colorado comes in 8th. Now, the absolute worst is California. It's, 3 times the size of most states. They lost over 12 million acres. Colorado ranked number 8 at 150,000 acres. You go a little further east in Illinois, and they lost less than 1,000 acres. In other words, their fire season lasts a good amount of time, which means you got some bad air quality.
Our fire season is absolutely disgusting. And yeah, it affects the air quality. And then when you take in the fact that we're a mile above sea level, people can already have a hard time breathing here without the air quality being bad. Literally right now, our air quality is shit. And it's not even because of fires happening here. The fires in Canada, Oregon, and Washington. but our air quality is shit because it came over here. So yeah, of course, you're not going to like it here if you have asthma or anything like that. If you struggle to breathe at sea level, you're not going to be able to breathe here. That's just a matter of fact. So air quality, huge. And sometimes the fires are pretty close. Like he said, we have a pretty long fire season.
Number 6, jobs. Now, Colorado isn't really hurting for jobs. They don't have horrible poverty numbers or anything like that. There's states that are much worse. It's just a lot of people from Colorado are being hired to other states that usually have a lower cost of living and they could get paid the same that they would in Colorado. So that one's just kind of basic. A lot of people listed why they were leaving and it was for work, a new job, new career move, whatever. Don't take that wrong. Colorado has a decent economy and all that, but it's just people leave for different jobs.
I mean, if you could make the same amount of money doing the same thing in a different state, why would you not move there if it's cheaper to live there? Of course you're going to do that. But also the same thing happens here where we recruit people from other states to come live here because we may pay a little more, but they might not realize that it's not actually that much more when you take into the cost of living. That can be a big factor in it, right? And now that we are also, like I said before, we're training immigrants to do these jobs, doesn't mean they're stuck here in Colorado. They're going to leave Colorado because they can't afford to live here once they no longer have free living. So, yeah, it's a huge problem. Wages need to go up, but greedy corporations won't let that happen, but they will charge more for their products. See how that works? Disgusting.
Number 5, retirement. A lot of people are leaving Colorado for retirement. Now, there's a few things that go along with this. One, the wildfires, the air quality, all that makes people move. In retirement, they don't want to stick around for the bad air quality. Of course, the cold weather, some retirees leave for that. Another thing is they want to find cheaper housing, lower cost of living. A bunch of the things on this list kind of go into the retirement thing, but a lot of people list that they're leaving because of retirement. I mean, think about it. When you retire, you want to lay down on a beach someplace. Not much of that going on in Colorado.
Zero beaches here in Colorado unless you count a lake beach, which, some might, but yeah, the weather's gonna suck. Retirement, I mean, if you can even afford to retire here because it's so expensive, you might be able to afford to retire somewhere even possibly nicer over in Florida for a little bit cheaper. That also might align better with your politics. So, I don't know, but definitely not the place to retire. Everyone that I know that is retired either moves to Arizona or Florida. They don't stay here in Colorado because why would they? But then, their houses typically don't get bought up by a family, they get bought up by a corporation. Unfortunately, that happens quite a bit here. So, how do we lower the cost of housing? Making it illegal for corporations to own buildings that are residential. That should not be allowed. Unless it's an apartment building, then I kind of see it, but even then, probably shouldn't allow corporations to own that much. It becomes a monopoly, and that hurts us all.
Number 4, the homeless. Now, Colorado overall really doesn't have that big of a homeless issue. I think as far as states go, they're ranked, depending on which stat you look at and which study, they're either 15th or 18th. So it's not terrible. Denver is where they have the most, and again, they're not terribly bad. In the country, they're ranked 13th or 14th.
The thing that we do with the homeless, though, is we like to ship them to other states like California. We'll literally pay for a one-way bus ticket to California. But the homeless situation is getting insane here now. This is over a year old, and it has definitely increased since then. So, yeah, there's a lot of homeless. Especially you go to Denver, there's whole blocks that all of a sudden you're just like, oh, this is a homeless encampment. That's what this is. This is where they just store all the homeless people, which is pretty messed up. But when we can't afford to live, it makes sense. Most of us are a couple paychecks away from being homeless. If we miss a few paychecks, you're homeless. That's just how that works. If we actually took a stack of people who are homeless versus people who are pre-homeless, meaning that they're renting or they don't own their home, so it means they miss a couple months of payments, they're gone, and you would see the problem.
depending on what study you look at. But
Oops.
the people that are leaving Colorado have a serious problem with the homeless population that they have. Now, I always got to say this. I have nothing wrong with the homeless people. I think they're people that are in an incredibly bad situation. Most of the time, as we all know, it has to do with mental illness or drug problems. But with a large homeless population, you get a bunch of problems, and you have to address those problems, and it just becomes a drain on any city. And it is tragic, but people don't want to be around it all the time. A lot of people pick up and move, and that's what's happening to some of the people that leave Colorado. And I'm sure most of the people that answered this on the survey probably came from Denver. I doubt if you drive all the way out to the unincorporated community of Last Chance, Colorado, you're going to find many homeless. A population of 23 people. I mean, with numbers like that, if George gets in Dutch with his wife and has to spend the night in his car, you've got a homeless epidemic in your city or unincorporated community. Side note, in 2012, a wildfire burnt most of that town. But yeah, people list that homeless is a reason they're leaving or not moving to Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, the homeless situation here isn't great. Just like I just said, if you took into account how many people, if they missed 2 paychecks or had a health crisis, that would be homeless within a few weeks after that health crisis, you would see the problem. It's insane. No one has savings. So if something comes up, you're on the streets pretty quick if you don't have family or friends that you can live with. It happens like that. It's not just drug issues. It's not just mental health issues, which that is a problem, and they should get help, and we should be able to help them. But it's also just, you got screwed. You broke your leg at a really bad time, and you can't afford to live anymore. That's awful. That should never be a situation that you have to deal with, but unfortunately, that's a reality that a lot of people live with.
Number 3, the crime rate. Okay, so Colorado's crime isn't that bad. If you look at their property crime, that's kind of big. They're ranked like 8th in the nation. But their violent crime rate, they're ranked 21st in the nation. Now, those are 2021 numbers. Complete 2022 numbers are not available yet. Things can change, but not that much. Of course, you're going to find a majority of the crime in their biggest cities like Denver. More people means more problems. That's where most of your crime comes from. People living on top of each other. You look at population density graphs and crime rate graphs, they sort of mimic each other. So the crime rate in Colorado isn't as bad as I think a lot of people think it is. They have some crime, but you compare it to some of the other states and the other major cities, it doesn't stack up. Is Colorado the safest state in the nation? Absolutely not. Is it near the worst? No. But whatever's going on there, enough people put it down as it's something that's driving them out of the state. If you're one of those people and you want to get out of Colorado because of the crime, I think your best bet is move to upper New England with Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. Sure, it gets a little cold there in the winter, but those are the safest states we have.
Crime rate. This literally does depend on population. If you leave your bike unlocked in Denver for 5 minutes, it'll be gone. If you go to Glenwood Springs and leave your bike unlocked, it'll be there for a week. Because no one steals in Glenwood. It all depends. The higher the population, the more the crime, and it's because more people are living in shitty circumstances where they feel like they need to commit crimes to survive. If everyone had a good, proper way to live and to live healthy and free, you would not see any crime. But when people are struggling next to the mega rich, you see huge crime waves. Waves. Aye. But this is the problem, right? When one person walking down the street is worth multi-millions of dollars and the other person is worth negative thousands, you're going to see crime. That's just what happens. Every city has it, and it gets worse the more diverse the incomes are.
Number 2, housing costs. This has been a problem for Colorado for a while, especially longtime locals can't stand it. Housing prices there have usually climbed faster than most other states in the area. Now, you got to take California out of the equation. They don't count because their home prices are just ridiculous. But back in 2020, January of 2020, the median listing price in Colorado was $404,000. That peaked in June of 2022 at $583,000. Side note to that, it's down a little bit just like about every real estate market in the nation. Right now it's down to $571,000. Over the last few decades, Colorado's housing has hovered between 15 and 20% above the national average, and that is chasing a lot of people out of the state. All right, before we get to number 1, if you're looking to move to another state, there is a link down below for Home and Money. It's a great website.
the price of living. Like I said, a starter home is $500,000 here. Who in their right mind can spend $500,000 on a starter home? You have a family, you have kids to take care of too. You have kids to take care of, and you're going to spend $500,000 on the house to live in? That's just crazy. Your payments are going to be 2,000 plus a month, not even counting electricity and then how much it costs to feed you guys. This is insane. They should never be that high. I got into real estate because I wanted to help people. I wanted to help people understand situations they don't understand. But how much it costs to live here makes it even harder for me to help people, because the only people I can actually help are the people who are rich or just people who were born in a time when it was actually affordable to live here. I can't help the everyday person anymore. I could never help them because the housing prices are so ridiculously priced. I wish I could help more people, but I physically can't because they can't afford it and I can't just pay for their housing. It's disgusting. It's awful. It makes me feel bad because I really do want to help you. I want to help everyone get a home so they can live happily and raise a family. But you wonder why no one has families anymore, why no one's having kids. They can't afford to have a kid. How sad is that? We live in a society where a kid is basically an expensive, disgusting piece of furniture. So why would you have one?
That has all kinds of things. Family. That's right, people are leaving Colorado because they want to live closer to family. Now, this isn't anything wrong with Colorado, obviously. It's just the number one reason given why people leave the state. There's 1,000,001 reasons why people would want to live near their family. Honestly, I would have loved to stay near my family when I first moved up to Oregon, but when Facebook and all that came around, we were mostly keeping in touch that way, even though we were all living in the same city and state. Some people don't use Facebook and would really just like to be near their family, and that's why they move. Most of the time, it's the older folks that are moving closer to family. As you get older, you want to be around family, things like that, and especially if you have like grandkids, all the things that happen in their life, you want to be as close as you can to be able to go to, things like soccer games and graduations. That becomes very important, especially as you get older. Sure, if you had a bad home life growing up, you're probably like, what are you talking about? I hate my family. But really, most of us want to get closer to our family. And that causes people to leave state.
Of course you want to be closer to your family, if you even have a family. If you have a family, you want to be close to them. And just think about it. If you live in Colorado and you own a home and you're older, so you paid maybe $100,000 for that home. That home's now worth $600,000 or more. You could sell that home, move to a cheaper state, and not only buy a house for you, but buy a house for your kid and their family, and then you could be right next to each other. Instead of living here in Colorado, where you got a house in a great area because you bought at a great time because you were much older than your kids, and now your kids are looking for a place to live, and they can't find anything because they don't have $500,000. How many people have $500,000 in their 20s? Not many at all. Not many can even qualify for a loan for $500,000 in their 20s. So if you have a house that's worth maybe even $1,000,000, you could move to a different state, buy a house for your kids, and then you can live right next to each other. Whereas if your kids even want to live in Colorado and they can barely afford it, they're going to live out in BFE, where it's going to be really hard to see them because it's going to be a 45-hour drive to go see them or an hour, 45-minute drive for them to come see you. All because they were priced out of housing near your area, mostly due to rentals and just people with more money coming to live in Colorado. Because the more money that comes, the higher prices go, and it's a small minority that actually have the money to live here. And they're not selling their houses, they're not selling their real estate, it's an investment. They're going to save it till the day they die, and then they want to pass it on to their kids. Where some people just want to have a nice family life and live close to their kids. And can you blame them if they can sell their house and then be able to afford to live right next to each other in a different state, maybe even close to the beach? You moved to McAllen, Texas, and you sold a house here in Colorado for a little under $1,000,000. You could buy a literal condo and have 4 different units in that condo. You could rent 2 and have the other 2 for you and your kid's family, and then you're living on the beach in Texas for the same price that you're living in Colorado, and you're making money because you're renting out 2 of the units. Why would you not do that? Colorado, you are a bit of a nightmare right now. But I love you, and I hope we can come out on the other side a lot stronger, a lot better, and get done with all of this bullshit, all of this nonsense that is screwing people over and making it hard for people to live here. Colorado is a great place, and I hope it becomes great again. But right now, it is an expensive hellhole. It really is. And I love it. And I want to sell houses here. I want to help you sell your house. I don't sell houses, I don't make them out of my ass, but I want to help you sell your house. I want to help you buy a house. I want to see you have a great family life and be able to live close to the people you love. But unfortunately, in Colorado, it's near impossible right now unless you are a multimillionaire. And on that note, I'm going to sign off. I hope you guys all have a great day. If you enjoyed the video, I hope you like, subscribe, comment, and share with your friends. And let's try and make Colorado a great place again, please. If we all work together and if we all actually try and build a community, the government can't keep screwing us, and we can actually enjoy life together as one, as united, as people. We are all people, right? We all should love each other. We all should respect each other. We need to grow stronger together, right? Let's do this. We can do this, Colorado. We can do this as America. But right now, it looks ugly. And it's going to look ugly for a while longer. But if we can power through it, we can make it more beautiful than it's ever been before. And on that note, goodbye. I hope you all have a great day, and I hope all your dreams come true one day. Just keep working at it, and good things will come, I promise, okay? Goodbye.